Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm Madeline. I work on the mentoring program at College Now, and I would like to welcome our panel moderator and our panelists here with us today, and also all of you watching. Happy National First Generation College Student Day. Whether you are or were first gen, or whether you support first gen success, we are glad you are here. With me today is panel moderator Margaret Trimmer, representing Delta Dental. Delta Dental is the mentoring program's event sponsor, so we're really thrilled to have Margaret here with us today. Margaret is Vice President of Strategic Partnerships for Delta Dental of Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana. This is a dental benefits company that covers 14 million lives. She sits on the senior leadership team, providing expert counsel and direction on all issues related to the company's reputation. In that role, she guides marketing, public relations, company culture, and the investment of $8 million dedicated to building healthy, smart, and vibrant communities. So she's a very, very busy lady. So thank you again for making time for us, Margaret. Prior to joining Delta Dental in 2018, Margaret served for 2.5 years as the president and CEO of Junior Achievement of Southeastern Michigan. She also founded and ran University Prep Science and Math Schools in Detroit, which is one of the highest performing charter school districts in the region. Finally, Margaret directed communications for the Michigan Education Association, the state's largest teachers union, for a total of 10 years. And while there, she started a nonprofit called Your Child. Margaret began her career as a reporter for the Detroit Free Press and co-created the first ever education team, and spent 6 years covering education issues and trends before leaving the paper in 1995. So Margaret is a practiced hand as well at interviewing and questions. I also know from previous conversations that Margaret herself is a first-generation college student. So again, we are thrilled to have her with us today. I'm so looking forward to this conversation. So with that, I will turn things over to Margaret to introduce our panelists and get started. And attendees, viewers, please use the chat to make comments, share observations, and please ask questions. We will be giving questions to our panelists from this broadcast should some arise. So please feel free to submit those. Margaret, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madeline. This is one of my favorite things to do, is to work with College Now and the young people that really do represent the hope and possibilities in our region. So my hat is off to College Now and all of you who are joining us, and all of our panelists, because they are representative of some grit, some courage, some tenacity, and some really tremendous success. Happy First Generation College Student Day to you who are in the audience, who may be first gen, to our panelists, and to me. I feel like I should have a piece of cake today, because it was not an easy road for me way back in the day. And so I know it's not entirely easy for our panelists who've joined us today, starting with Juan Collado. Juan graduated from Tri-C last year with his associate's degree in criminal justice and political science, with a certificate. If that wasn't enough, he got a certificate in English writing and journalism, something near and dear to my heart. He is currently at Walsh University, continuing his study of politics and working to earn a dual bachelor's and master's degrees. Juan is also planning to run for office as early as next year. Welcome, Juan. Our next panelist is Jasaira De Jesus. She earned an associate's degree in liberal arts from Tri-C last year. She's taking a gap year, a very important thing to do, and will be pursuing dermatology at Brown Aveda next year. She's planning ultimately to be an entrepreneur and start her own business. And Diamond Boyd. She's currently a senior at Central State University, majoring in biology and planning to go to dental school. So you got to know, from Delta Dental to Diamond, we're probably going to stay in touch. Welcome, panelists. I'm going to throw the first question out there to Juan to get us started. Juan, think about how being a first-generation college student distinguished you from others in the college experience. What was different, and what did your experience look like in tangible ways that was different from your peers who maybe had family members that were coaching and guiding them on the side?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, first, Margaret and Madeline, for that great introduction. I am Juan, as I mentioned. I think to me, like what differentiate me from other students, like being first gen, primarily, I feel it was not having someone in the family like knew in like what college was like and having to go to that experience kind of like alone to say, because I didn't have the support from the family since they didn't know what college was, but I had the support of them wanting me to be successful at least. So I had that support, but I didn't have the cheer and the knowledge of like the college world. That also, coming into a new world, like I'm leaving high school and coming straight to college. That was a whole new experience for me. This 19-year-old me, like 18, 19, kind of scary. I'm used to high school and then straight out of high school to that. So I think it was different. The learning experience was different, and knowing that at this time it's up to me to do the work, and there will be like not, there won't be someone just like in high school making my schedule or like telling me that I have to be there at a specific time. Like now it's time to put on like adult boots and big boy boots and start working pretty much and going through the college experience. So I think that helped me a lot. And also having available scholarships as a first gen student, that was one of the most amazing things. First gen students are regularly, as mentioned, we are warriors and we are fighters. So that was one of the best things, having the scholarships available, the support available from College Now, the support from the Say Yes program, from all the other different first gen programs. I think helped me to make it through the college experience in a better and successful way for sure.
Because finances are truly the number one reason why first gen students may not make it through to completion and to graduation. So you found those financial assets right up front to help you.
Correct. They were beneficial. They were definitely supportive, and not just scholarships, but also like the benefits and come to being a first gen, the programs that are available, not just like financially, but they would help me with computer. I got help with like calculator when I needed one. So there was material and also financial. Even with my books, I could borrow like books from the library and stuff. So, and I'm pretty sure all college students can do that, but being first gen also like push to programs like Say Yes and let me borrow those books directly from them too.
Yep. Jasaira, was there anything about your experience when you entered Tri-C as a first gen that stood out as unique because you were that first gen student?
I think the vibe of the campus when I had did like a tour of the campus, so specifically like I've been to the Metro campus and then the Western campus. It's like the vibe that I when you first step on campus is the other one. And then the other one was um having I think what helped also I had my sister, like we started together at the same time. So it's like that buddy system that is like this new experience, but also like some type of guidance and lean towards each other to help aid as well. And then from there going having like seen some of my the other college classmates that I recognize faces and whatnot from around the neighborhood around like who I went to high school with. So it's like some familiarity that was like that first step, that like initiative of sense of familiarity. And then from there it was really just like taking one class at a time, like not like looking at face value, like not saying, oh, I got all these classes. Let me just like to focus one at a time as the schedule is set, and then make that connection with professors to help with the transition from high school to college as well.
Was there any of, I guess, what some might characterize as culture shock, walking out of the high school environment and into a more independent, more filled with choice college setting?
I think the biggest culture shock is that I was told no one's there to hold your hand. They're like, yeah, there's people there to help guide you, but to going out there, the biggest culture is like the time settings of classes, like how in high school is like a set schedule from like 8 in the morning it'll start to like lead into the afternoon. And this one we create our own schedule based on our major or based on our major really or degrees. That is like, okay, now we make the schedule. That means we got to follow suit with the schedule and follow through that time. I think is the biggest culture shock is the time and how much like really like you don't think about it in high school, but when you get to college, it's like whoa, time, the feeling of time, just it alters and differs as well.
Right, no doubt. Diamond, you are going to be a dentist. Where did you get the vision of becoming a dentist? Because that requires not only that you get through your undergrad, but that requires a very long journey beyond undergrad. How did that vision and how did that reality set in for you that was who you're going to be?
Uh, well, thank you. Um, Growing up, I kind of had to grow up faster than others, faster than children in normal households. So I already automatically took on that leadership role, and I already had like the feeling of wanting to be able to help and wanting to just know, just know what was wrong and being able to solve the problem. I found myself a lot of the times just wanting to be able to know just know the answer to certain things and just know how to fix things. So I don't know, I just came up with the idea. Well, I honestly wanted to pursue dentistry when I was in high school around my junior year. um, I think she was a dental hygienist. Met an African American dental hygienist one day. And I remember going in the office with so much anxiety and just fear because there was something wrong with my teeth that I didn't know anything about, and I didn't know if it could be fixed. It was just plaque, guys. But she explained to me what it was and, why my gums were receding and, what we could do to fix it. And I just remember feeling so relieved and just so happy that someone that looked like me knew this information and was able to explain it to me in a way that I could understand. And I thought to myself, I could do something like this. I would be able to help others in this way. And from then on, that's how I decided I wanted to pursue dentistry. And it's been 4 years since I've been a freshman. So I still have that passion to attend dental school and just try and do it. And I think I want to do it now more than ever because not only am I interested in learning more about oral health and being able to share whatever I learn with my community, uh, I I just feel a very strong passion to do it, to prove to myself that I can do it.
Well, that also means you've had to really be on top of your classes to
Right.
get the best grades. How have you
Yeah.
navigated, and then I'm going to go from you backwards, back up to Juan. How have you navigated the resources that are available to you on the college campus? Because sometimes they seem like they're hidden. How have you found the resources and advocated for yourself and accessed the resources?
Yeah, so just like we mentioned before, as a first gen college student, the financial part can definitely be daunting because you just don't know how you're going to pay for it. Where's this money going to come from? And you're seeing all these huge numbers. So, firstly, college now definitely helped with that part because, not only having that mentor, but also being able to have access to scholarships that can help me get through it. I just remember freshman year, I didn't know if I was going to make it to senior year just because of the financial portion, but college now definitely helped with that. So that took some of the burden off my back. And also, resources like being able to find internships. Being on campus has gave me a lot of options as far as like internships and putting myself closer to that field and being able to participate in research so I can get those skills as far as being able to find information, knowing what sites to use, knowing how to find legitimate sources, and being able to write scientifically. So finding internships on campus has definitely been super helpful.
So
And
would you say, and then gonna flip to Jasira to pick the question up. Would you say that being curious, being full of questions, being open-minded and just hunting for information is critical to getting the resources that are available to you?
absolutely.
Jasira, how about you? There's all kinds of help available, but if you don't find it, you can't do anything with it. How have you navigated that challenge?
Yeah, I think part of it is like I think we all at one point get lost and we feel like we don't know where to turn to or where to go next. I think the start of it is like, okay, we have our classes. The first one I think of is the professors. That's one way of going out. And normally, if you talk with your professors during their hours or during or after class, they're more than likely to tell you if you showcase that you need some assistance or you're looking for it. I'm pretty sure that the professors will like also guide you in that extra step and also show you who to go to next and where you can locate that office and the individual as well. And then from there, it's like from professor goes to like the tutor sessions, the tutor locators, and then where and time are they open to, and then from there it kind of like branches out as well.
Juan, do you have anything to add? And then I think we're going to have a pretty robust Q&A.
Yes, I will say, you can be shy. I know some of us sometimes, you might be a little shy. I will say you can't be shy when going to college. You have to make sure that you seek for those opportunities, that you look for them, you seize that moment. You have to dig to find those opportunities. They're there, but if you don't look for them, you won't get them. So connect with your college and campus like activity boards or different student clubs, government. Be part of every program you can that will benefit you and will help you. Some colleges have a transfer center, like use the transfer center for where you're going next. If you're trying to do like from a 2 to a 4 year, use your Say Yes. If you have your part of the Say Yes program, use your Say Yes mentor and the advisors use. And if you're part of the College Now mentoring program, definitely use that and take advantage of it as much as you can. I myself have to say that I'm one of the students, and I'm very proud of that. I have my mentor. I call him at any time, and I get a reply back with no problem. Like if I text him at 2 a.m., I'm pretty sure then by like 2:30, I still get a reply. So I'm not encouraging people to go and text their mentors at 2 a.m., but I'm saying like use your mentors too. They're there for a reason, and sometimes they have more connection that can help you too.
Well, I definitely know back when I was in college a lifetime ago that I introduced myself to every single professor, every single semester. Some of them maybe were dismissive, others just wrapped me in their arms and helped guide me. And so being known, being seen, and sniffing out every possible corner where there may be an opportunity is huge. Madeline, do you have a question you want to throw into the mix at this point?
Yes, I do. And we might have some time at the end too, Margaret, to pick up if you have additional questions. But
Oh, there's one I know we need to get to wrap it up. So I'm saving the best for last, at least on this list that I have. Go for it.
Wonderful. We had a couple that were kind of similar, but boil down to, what assets and strengths do the panelists believe you bring being first gen? So due to your first gen experiences, how do you feel like that's really turned into an asset for you?
Juan, do you want to begin since we left off with you and we can?
Or I saw Josiah had her hand up.
I was going to say, Josiah, do you want to go first?
Yep.
What's all right with you? So I'm pretty sure that since I walked through this stage and I can, like my asset is I can be also helpful for the next person that comes. I know I have some family who are now going into college, and it's like they're in that stage of what do I do? Where do I go? And I think I'm good at being a little, not chauffeur, but a little mentor to them as well, and kind of showcase. And if they got questions, they can always text me. So I think part of being an asset is like, since I already walked this stage and now there's more that are coming into the same stage that I had just left, I think the biggest asset is also helping them guide and be a guidance to them as well and supportive alongside it. Go ahead, Juan.
I'll go next. I will say I definitely agree with you there, Shire. I think personally being the biggest asset to like the newcomer or like new college students is guiding them, helping them as much as you can, being a mentor yourself. I have also taken that opportunity. I share a lot of the I have made connections with my teachers in high school, and so well that I still have some teachers call me every now and then, like, hey, there's this program. Can you help the student get through or like help them sign up? And always like making sure the next generation, you can help them. They might be like you, then they don't have someone. So I think that's one of the biggest assets and one of the biggest strengths that first gen students could have to me also is just being there and being available. And as I mentioned, we're fighters, we're warriors. We didn't have someone like before us doing this, so us doing this really shows big difference. So I think that's one of our strengths, being warriors and being ready for whatever comes our way.
Diamond, I bet you've got something you could add.
Could you repeat the question again?
Certainly. So the question kind of boils down to what assets and strengths do you feel that you have as a first gen college student? Be that experience of being first gen, what kind of assets and strengths do you feel that that's given you?
Well, just like Syra and Juan mentioned, just being able to pour into others what I've learned since taking on this experience, that's definitely one of the greatest assets. And the confidence, gaining the confidence to know that if I can conquer this, then I can do anything. When I first, during high school, going to college, even going to dental school, that was an imagination. It was an imagination. And now to actually be doing this and almost finishing, I know for sure that I will be able to pursue the career goals that I had in mind.
Nothing succeeds like success, right?
Okay. Well, thank you, three. Those are just wonderful observations to think about. And we had I believe a mentor ask on the live stream, what were some resources that really helped you that you didn't necessarily expect? I know we touched on resources a little bit, but maybe what was a surprising one that was very helpful for you? Anyone want to go first on that? Okay, Juan.
So I'll jump in. So when I was a Tri-C student, I never expected that making connections with a lot of people will help me with resources. And I made a lot of connections with the student affairs and the campus tour, staff members at Tri-C West. And one semester I was my scholarship, I was a little late and behind with it. So I needed some extra money to put towards books and part of the college. And one of the resources was then I asked one of the people there, and I was a little stressed out. I was, well, more than a little, I was stressing out big time. And I asked the person to say, well, don't stress out. There's this emergency fund at Tri-C. Let me help you to apply to it. And they walked me step by step, walking through the whole process for me to be able to use that emergency fund to help me out. And I think that was one of the biggest things for me, an unexpected asset, or resource. Also, during COVID, when we went fully online, one of the unexpected resources was that I became a student ambassador for Tri-C. So I was helping other students, myself being a resource too. I never expected myself to be the resource guy, but with all my knowledge during COVID, I was helping the new students to be more comfortable with the online system and knowing that I could be there. I think that was one of the best resources during college.
Okay, so Margaret, I think that concludes our Q&A from the audience, but I believe you had one last question you wanted to end on, and I want to make sure you have some time for that.
Yep, and I think we have just enough time to bring this one home in a really robust way. So there are those who talk about first generation college goers as facing risk and being in jeopardy or at risk. I think you each have a slightly different perspective, and risk may not be the right word to use to describe what you bring to the equation. Syra, let's start with you. Is it a risk? Are you at risk or something else?
Say that a chance really is this opportunity. I think it's more as an opportunity. We have no set expectation as well. So when we go view something or make a goal or a plan, I think the way we view it is an opportunity. We have no expectation of what we're going into, nor do we put expectations on ourselves, just to hope for the best and along the way take one step at a time and our end goal is to succeed, to get the degree, to get whatever we set our mind to accomplish that goal and that mindset.
So you really don't have any parameters set, no boundaries. So you can maybe expand on what would be expected if you had a history of college going in your family.
No
That's kind of a
boundaries at
wonderful.
all. Yep.
Yep.
In a closed box either.
Right.
Mhm.
Diamond. Are you at risk or are you something else?
Well, I'm definitely not at risk since I've made it this far on my college journey. Um, I did not know that people thought of first gen college students as being risk. It's such an interesting idea. No, I don't. I'm not at risk. It's definitely easy to want to quit when you first begin, but all it takes is just that little seed of just wanting to do better for yourself in your mind. And when you know that, you're going to use every option you can to get yourself through it. So we're definitely not at risk.
But are you a risk taker?
Oh, definitely. I am definitely a risk taker.
Right? So it's a whole different spin on the concept of risk. Juan, I
Mhm.
know you have a spin on this as well.
Absolutely. As you said, Morgan, we are risk takers. I mean, we are out to take any risk. This generation has proven a lot of that. First gen students are not really a risk. I mean, during COVID times, most of us stay there, and I myself can testify to that. I wanted to drop out plenty of times, but I tell myself I'm doing this all the way to the end. Like I may not know how to use this online system, but I'll learn. I'll take the risk and I'll continue. And then I graduated with my first two associates from Tri-C. So we're definitely risk takers. A lot of my friends, like during COVID, as I mentioned, they dropped out and they weren't first gens. And I feel that a lot of the first gen students were the ones that stayed because we have something to go for. Like we have the passion that we are first generation students. We are the first person in our family to actually achieve this high level of education. So we are willingful and have that little spark of like willingness to do a little more and achieve higher education, achieve higher goals in our life. So I feel that, as you said, and Diamond said, we are not a risk, but we're risk takers for sure.
Well, I do a lot of hiring on in my world and have done a lot of hiring over the years. And I hire people who are hungry, who have drive, aspiration, courage, and grit. And I got to tell you, I find that more frequently in people who were the first in their family to make it to this finish line than I find it in people for whom it was always expected, it was always planned, and it was no big deal in some of their lives. You value what you've got, you've earned what you've got, and it really does create the kind of worker that I have found to be quite successful, if not a world more successful than some of the others with all kinds of credentials and all kinds of support behind them. So I'm a big fan of first gen graduates. Madeline, I think they brought it home for us with 1 minute to spare.
I think they did. Although, Desiree, would you like to make a quick last comment there?
Yeah, I would also like to add, like last minute I thought about it. I was like, I think first gens we're also like, since it's like known that we're like things are impossible for us, I think we try to find the possible and try to be very persevere and very as Margaret said, diligent and grit. Like we want to finish, and it's like there's like we're not gonna let obstacles block our path. We're gonna try to break through the barriers and succeed as well.
Well, this has been
Really
oh,
quick.
Juan. Yeah, go ahead, Juan.
We are definitely fighters, and we're just looking and seeking for change, and we're gonna definitely. So I think first gens are fighters and drivers of change for sure.
Love it.
Excellent. And we have one comment I wanted to kind of share with you all. It sounds like all of you have quietly gained confidence along the way. That's so important to envision your individual long-term success. So proud of all of you. So from the audience, you are getting a lot of love. What a great way to celebrate First Gen Day. Thank you so much again to our panelists, to Margaret. Thanks to all of our First Gen students and mentors in College Now's network, our staff people who are First Gen. We are so glad you're here. Thank you for making us a part of your success, and thank you for celebrating this day with us. So with that, we'll close out. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Good job, you guys.